Took the long way through the back roads, trying hard to outrun my past. Every mile felt a little heavier, like old mistakes were built to last. The fields were turning into evening, the wind knew every place I'd been. I almost drove right past the farmhouse, then I saw that weathered fence again. I thought I'd have to earn forgiveness, I thought I'd have to hide my shame, but mercy wasn't keeping score, it already knew my name. God was waiting at the fence, like he'd never left that place. Not with anger in his eyes, only kindness on his face. He didn't ask me where I'd wandered, he didn't count the miles I'd gone. He just opened up the gate like I'd been expected all along. God was waiting at the fence. There were scars I couldn't cover, questions I could never hide, dreams I'd buried in the silence, tears I carried deep inside. But every step toward that old gate felt lighter than the one before. Funny how the road back home was never locked at all. I spent years afraid of judgment, building walls with every fear. All along the Father's heart was simply drawing near. God was waiting at the fence, like he'd never left that place. Not with anger in his eyes, only kindness on his face. He didn't ask me where I'd wandered, he didn't count the miles I'd gone. He just opened up the gate like I've been expected all along. God was waiting at the fence. Maybe you've been driving nowhere, thinking hope has passed you by. Maybe home feels far behind you and you're too tired to even try. Turn around, don't be afraid, love has never walked away. God was waiting at the fence before I ever turned around. Every prayer I thought was lost was already heaven bound. He ran to meet my broken story, called me by the name I knew. Turns out I wasn't finding him, he'd been waiting there for me, standing at the fence, waiting there for me. The coffee's on the table set, just like every Sunday used to be. There's one less voice to say the blessing, one less smile waiting on me. I still hear the floorboards talking every time the old house starts. Funny how one empty chair can fill a room with memories. Some things never stop hurting, some tears never dry completely, but love has a way of whispering when the world grows quiet. One empty chair, one full heart, that's how healing sometimes starts. The hands I miss still point me upward, the prayers they prayed still light the dark. Love doesn't end when heaven calls, it simply learns another song. One empty chair, one full heart, means they're gone from here, not gone for long. I found an old worn Bible folded to a page I'd never seen. A little note beside the margin said, keep trusting when you can't believe. I smiled through tears I couldn't hide, like they somehow knew that day would come. Even now they're teaching me without saying one more word. Faith doesn't erase the sorrow, it gives the sorrow somewhere to rest. And somehow broken hearts still learn to beat with hope. One empty chair, one full heart, that's how healing sometimes starts. The hands I miss still point me upward, the prayers they prayed still light the dark. Love doesn't end when heaven calls, it simply learns another song. One empty chair, one full heart, means they're gone from here, not gone for long. If you're staring at an empty place tonight, wondering how tomorrow starts, remember every life that's lived in love leaves a little heaven in our hearts. One empty chair, one full heart, grace has carried me this far. I still save a place in memory, but I don't live inside goodbye. The day will come when every table is whole again beyond the stars. Till then I'll thank the one who holds the ones I love. One empty chair, one full heart, and hope is never far. I took the long way home tonight, past the fields and county line. The old white church was standing there, just like it had my whole life. That bell don't ring like it once did, most folks have moved away. But every time I pass that road, it calls my heart to pray. I thought about my daddy's hands folded when we'd bow our head. He never used a lot of words, just let his life be what he said. He worked from sun up until dark, never asked this world for much. He always said, when life gets hard, son, don't forget to trust. Lord, I'm just an ordinary man, trying to do the best I can. Some days I walk, some days I fall. I don't have all the answers after all. When this road gets hard to see, be the light in front of me. And when my journey here is through, lead me all the way home to you. I've buried friends I thought would stay, watch my children grow too fast. Seems every year goes by quicker than the one that came before the last. I've learned this life can change so fast, like summer turning into snow. That's why I hold a little tighter to the things that matter most. You don't always calm the storm, sometimes you calm the soul. And somehow that's enough for me to keep on walking home. Lord, I'm just an ordinary man, trying to do the best I can. You've been faithful all my days, even when I lost my way. When I cross that river wide, I know you'll be by my side. Till that day I'll carry on, walking that long way home. And every mile still leads me back to you. The mailbox leaned, the pain was gone. Another week kept dragging on. My coffee cooled beside the chair, but morning still was waiting there. I heard a robin cross the field, singing like my wounds could heal. Funny how a little song can remind your soul it's not alone. I don't need the road to bend, I just need the strength to walk again. The sky didn't give up yet, so why should I forget? Every sunrise writes my name inside another page of grace. When my faith feels paper thin, God keeps breathing hope again. One more dawn, one more chance, He still holds tomorrow in His hands. Old front porch, worn out boots, mercy grows in simple roots. Every prayer I thought was lost found its way beneath the cross. The wind don't rush the tallest trees, it teaches them to bend with peace. Maybe that's what heaven knew before I ever made it through. Every mile I couldn't see was another step He walked with me. The sky didn't give up yet, so why should I forget? Every sunrise writes my name inside another page of grace. When my faith feels paper thin, God keeps breathing hope again. One more dawn, one more chance, He still holds tomorrow in His hands. If the river keeps on running, if the stars still find the night, then the God who shaped the mountains hasn't let go of my life. No, He never left my side, even when I close my eyes. The sky didn't give up yet, and neither has my King. Hope is more than what I see, it's every promise that He brings. Every heartbeat says begin, every breath is grace again. One more dawn, one more chance, He still holds tomorrow. He still holds tomorrow in His hands. Sunday morning came so softly, just like every week before. The church bell echoed through the valley, just beyond our old screen door. Mama folded Sunday shirt, the coffee warmed the room. Everything looked just the same, but nothing really had been. His old Bible filled the pew,
right where He'd always sit.
Someone placed it there with care,
but no one opened it.
The choir sang Amazing Grace, way they always had. Still every voice could somehow tell something had been left behind. Sunday didn't feel the same without his quiet faith. One empty seat said more that day than words could ever say. But heaven felt a little closer when we bowed our heads to pray, because the God he trusted all his life had never gone away. After church we drove back home, past the fields he loved so well. The porch still held his rocking chair. The wind knew it by heart. I sat where he would read each dawn, watching sunlight cross the land. And for the first time since goodbye, I finally understood. Faith isn't only what we preach
or songs we learn to sing.
Sometimes it's simply living well
Until the silence speaks.
Sunday didn't feel the same without his quiet faith. One empty seat still tells a story of a life lived full of grace. Though we miss his gentle presence every time the church bells ring, we'll meet again one Sunday morning where heaven starts to sing.
Until that morning comes,
I'll keep saving you a place. I stood there with my suitcase, dreams folded in my hands, certain that tomorrow would unfold just as I'd planned. But every road I wanted seemed to disappear from sight. I couldn't understand it through the tears that filled my eyes. I prayed for one more answer, one more chance to make it through. But heaven stayed so quiet, like it knew what I could not do. Every door I reached for never opened wide. I called it disappointment, God called it my guiding hand. When God closed that door, He wasn't closing hope. He was gently turning my footsteps toward a better road. I couldn't see tomorrow, standing where I stood. Looking back, I finally understand. He closed that door because He could see what I never could. Now I pass that old place without a single regret. The life I thought I'd wanted wasn't meant for me just yet. Some blessings wear disguises, some answers take their time. Sometimes mercy sounds like silence until the reasons finally shine. If you're standing in the hallway wondering what comes next, don't mistake a closed door for the ending of your steps. The shepherd knows the mountain long before we climb. He never leaves his children walking there alone. When God closed that door, He opened something new. Not the life that I imagined, but the one He always knew. Today I thank the Father for every answer I once feared, because the greatest blessings often start the moment one more door disappears. Some doors are closed, so better ones can open. So better ones can open. I thought there'd always be another Sunday, another drive down that old county lane, another cup of coffee by the window, another chance to say the things I couldn't say. The seasons came without permission, the years slipped by like summer rain. I never saw the clock was moving till everything had changed. Funny how tomorrow always feels so far away. I thought I had more time, more mornings, more sunsets to find, more laughter around that old kitchen table, more chances to hold the ones I love. But every breath is heaven's gift, every moment mercy gives. Now I thank the Lord for every sunrise, like it's the first one I've ever seen. Now I wave a little longer, stay a little after church, call the friends I've been forgetting, open up His Word before the work. The little things I used to hurry past now somehow mean the most. Turns out life's greatest blessings were the ones I almost missed. If today becomes tomorrow's memory, let it be filled with grace. Not because life lasts forever, but because God's love always stays. I thought I had more time to become the man I prayed I'd be, but the Lord keeps writing mercy on every page He gives to me. So I'll love a little deeper, forgive a little faster, thank Him a little louder while I'm still here. I may not know how many days remain, but today is enough. And by His grace, today watch the years keep passing, like old fences down the road. Some dreams never found their season, some seeds were never sown. I wondered if the best was over, if I'd waited far too long, if the pages left before me could still become a song. I looked into the mirror and saw more silver than before, lines that told 1,000 stories written through the years, dear Lord. Then the morning softly whispered something I had never seen. God has never counted birthdays, only hearts that still believe. I didn't miss my chance. God still calls my name as long as He gives me one more dawn. My story can still change. The road is not behind me, there's still more grace to find. If God woke me up this morning, He still has plans for this life of mine. I've seen oak trees growing stronger long after storms have passed. I've watched broken fields become green when the springtime came at last. So I won't measure hope by numbers or by all the years gone by. The God who made tomorrow still paints every sunrise. Abraham was called in faith when many thought his time had gone. Moses didn't stop believing, though the journey still was long. The Lord has always loved to show that His timing stands apart. He doesn't look at fading years, He looks upon the heart. I didn't miss my chance. The author's still at work, every breath He gives today still carries endless worth. So I'll walk into tomorrow with faith instead of fear, because the God who wrote my story is still writing every year. As long as God keeps giving me tomorrow, my story isn't finished. My story isn't finished. Daddy knelt beside his chair every evening after work, before the supper, before the rest. He always bowed his head first. Then I'd come with dusty boots, or my sister needed help. The old dog barked, the screen door slammed, and he'd smile and stand himself. Some nights rain was on the roof, some nights bills were on the table, some nights all we had was hope, and hands that never seemed quite able. I don't recall a single time he reached the final amen. Life would call him back away again and again and again. Heaven heard what Daddy meant long before the words were through. God was never counting sentences. He was looking at the truth. A faithful heart can speak out loud, even when the lips grow still. The prayers my father never finished, I believe the Father filled. Now I'm older than he was when I watched him by that chair, trying hard to lead a home with more burdens than he shared. Some nights I stop halfway, caught away by little things. Then I smile because I know exactly what those moments mean. Grace was living in our house long before I understood. Not because each prayer was perfect, but because our God is good. Heaven heard what Daddy meant. Every pause and every sigh. Mercy listened patiently to the silence in his eyes. Now before I leave that chair, I don't worry if life calls. The Lord who watched my father's prayers has never missed one yet at all. The hallway smelled of antiseptic, old coffee and 1,000 prayers, a faded Bible in my trembling hands, while silence filled the waiting chairs. He walked in slow, eyes to the floor, before he ever said a word. One little shake of his weary head was louder than anything I'd ever heard. The world kept turning outside that window, cars rolled by like nothing had changed, but mine stopped right there in that little room. Nothing would ever feel the same. Questions came like pouring rain. How could this be your perfect plan? Lord, I never thought my faith would be tested quite like that. When the doctor shook his head, heaven never looked away. When my hope was hanging by a thread, your mercy chose to stay. Fear stood right beside me, trying hard to steal my breath. But even in that hospital room, your love was stronger than death. Night after night beside that bed, I learned what faith was really for. Not to promise life without the pain, but strength I'd never known before. Some prayers were answered differently, some tears never left my eyes, but every morning you were faithful, like every single sunrise. I used to think that peace would come when every storm had reached its end. Now I know true peace is finding you right in the middle of the wind. When the doctor shook his head, I thought my whole world would fall apart, but you were already holding every broken piece of my heart. Fear may still come knocking, but it won't decide my story, because the darkest room I've ever seen was still filled with your glory. If you're sitting where I once sat, holding on with all you've got, don't watch the doctor's head. Lift your eyes to the one who never lowers his. I almost turned around today before the road began. The weight upon these tired shoulders was more than I could stand. Every mile looked just the same, every sky was cold and gray. I couldn't see beyond the moment standing in my way. Then the morning wind reminded me, tomorrow has my name on it. God already knows the way. Before the sun begins to rise, He's already there waiting. So I won't let today decide what tomorrow's gonna be, because the God who's writing mornings already thought of me. I've buried dreams beneath the dust, watched seasons come and go, but seeds don't bloom the day they're planted, only heaven knows. So I'll keep walking one more mile, though I cannot see the end. Faith has never asked for eyesight, only one more step again. The night can keep its darkness, the rain can have its day. Morning has a way of finding hearts that choose to keep their faith. Tomorrow has my name on it, not because I'm strong enough, but because the one who holds tomorrow never gives up. Every sunrise is a promise, every dawn a brand new start. The future isn't waiting somewhere, it's already in God's heart. still knows my name, though years have come and gone. Mama's porch is weathered now, but the evening breeze lives on. That little church beyond the hill still rings a Sunday bell, and every time I hear that sound, my heart remembers well. The old wooden cross still stands right where my worries fall. I've searched this world for peace of mind, but mercy found me all alone. When my strength was running low, His faithful hands held mine. The old wooden cross still stands, and so does His love tonight. I've worn these boots through joy and tears, down roads I couldn't see. I've made mistakes I can't erase, but grace kept chasing me. And quiet prayer beneath the stars was all I had to give, and heaven answered softly with one more chance to live. The old wooden cross still stands right where my worries fall. I've searched this world for peace of mind, but mercy found me all along. When my strength was running low, His faithful hands held mine. The old wooden cross still stands, and so does His love tonight. One day these hands will lay to rest, these boots won't walk again, but I'll hear a sweeter welcome home beyond the river's bend. No fear will fill my heart that day, no shadows left to hide. The shepherd's voice will call my name and lead me safely by. The old wooden cross still stands for every soul who calls. No road is ever far enough to outrun heaven's love. When the morning finally breaks, I'll see that golden light. The old wooden cross still stands, pointing my heart to Christ. This old river's been here longer than the houses on this land. I've watched it carry broken branches, just like dreams slip through my hands. I came here with too many questions, thinking time had passed me by. But the water kept on whispering, son, lift up your eyes. The current never hurried, still it always found the sea. The river never forgot my name, those seasons washed away. Every bend and every winding led me where I stand today. I thought I was just drifting, but heaven knew the way. The river never forgot my name, and neither did my Savior's grave. Daddy used to bring me fishing before the morning sun would rise. He'd say, God speaks the loudest where the world gets quiet inside. Now I hear those words returning like an old familiar song. Funny how the truth keeps waiting even after you've been gone. Some roads lead back to nowhere, some bridges fall apart, but the love that called my number never lost my heart. The river never forgot my name. It carried every prayer. Even when I couldn't see it, God was already there. Every mile behind me makes tomorrow easier to face. The river never forgot my name, and neither did Amazing Grace. Water keeps on moving, the Lord keeps leading too. As long as that river keeps running, I'll keep trusting you. The church doors open just like always. Morning light came through the glass. Every face looked just as familiar, but something felt different at last. Right there on the old oak bench hung a faded Sunday coat. Nobody touched it all that morning, no one even spoke. For 40 years he'd sit right there, hat beside his weathered hands, singing every single chorus like he helped the angels stand. He never preached a single sermon, never asked to lead a song, but if your faith was getting weaker, he somehow made it strong. Some folks leave behind a fortune, some leave words carved into stone. He left a worn-out coat on Sunday, and a faith that still feels like home. The seat may now be empty, but heaven knows his name. Love keeps speaking softly, long after we're gone away. A little boy looked at his grandpa, asked, why's nobody taking that? He smiled before he answered, and laid a gentle hand upon his back. Some things aren't meant for keeping, they're reminders while we stay, that the ones who walk with Jesus never really walk away. Some fortune. Some leave words carved into stone. He left a worn-out coat on Sunday and showed us how to make heaven home. Now every time that choir starts singing, I still turn and look that way. That old coat isn't waiting for him. It's reminding us to stay. Some folks leave behind a fortune. Some leave words carved into stone. He left a worn-out coat on Sunday and showed us how to make heaven home. Now every time the choir starts singing, I still turn and look that way. That old coat isn't waiting for him. It's reminding us to stay. There's an old rocking chair on the front porch still, paint worn thin by the wind on the hill. Every evening around sunset's glow, that's where Dad would quietly go, with his Bible resting on one knee, watching birds settle in the maple tree. He never needed many words to say. His silence always showed the way. Some things fade with passing years, some never leave. The empty rocking chair still rocks somehow, like heaven whispers through it even now. I can almost hear him softly pray, thanking God at the close of day. Though the porch feels quiet and the night's more long, his faith is louder than any song. He may be gone from these old stairs, but love still lives in that empty rocking chair. I walked outside just yesterday, caught myself looking his way. For one brief second my heart believed he'd smile the way he always did. The fields keep changing season by season, life keeps handing reasons to grieve. But every lesson that man gave still carries me through every wave. One day I'll leave this world behind, like every soul before my time. If someone remembers anything of me, I hope they remember the faith they could see. The empty rocking chair still rocks somehow, though no one's sitting in it now. Its gentle rhythm tells my heart love never truly falls apart, because the hands that held this home now rest before the Father's throne. And every time that old chair sways, it reminds me grace outlives our days. The porch grows still, the evening air, but heaven feels close beside that empty rocking chair.
Came home late through the gravel road, with dust upon my shoes. The whole house slept beneath the dark, like it had nothing left to prove. But in the window, soft and low, a little light was shining on. And on the table by her chair, Mama's Bible still lay open. I stood there quiet in the doorway, too tired to even speak. The clock kept ticking on the wall, like it knew the shape of me. There was coffee in the old blue cup, and a note beside the page. Son, when the road gets hard to walk, remember where to place your faith. The kitchen light was still on, like mercy waiting in there. No choir, no Sunday morning song, just God inside the air. I didn't need a perfect prayer, words that sounded strong. I found my way back home that night, where the kitchen light was on. I read the verse she underlined, with hands that shook a little. Come to me, all heavy hearts, written right there in the middle. And for the first time in a while, I let my burdens fall. Not in a church with stained glass walls, but where love had held us all. The kitchen light was still on, like mercy waiting there. No choir, no Sunday morning song, just God inside the air. I didn't need a perfect prayer, or words that sounded strong. I found my way back home that night, where the kitchen light was on. Some people find the Lord in thunder, some in hymns they used to know. But I found him in that quiet room, where grace moves soft and slow. The kitchen light is still on every time I lose my way, and And that old Bible on the table still knows what I need to say. So when my heart feels far from home and the night feels long, I remember God was waiting there where the kitchen light was on. The gravel road felt longer than it ever had before. Another day of chasing worries, another closing door. I dropped my head beside the steps and took a tired seat on the old front porch where Daddy said, "The Lord in peace will meet." The swing still sang its gentle song the way it always had. The evening breeze moved through the pines like conversations past. His Bible wasn't in his hands, his voice was gone with time. But somehow everything he taught was waiting there to find. The porch still waits for me when this old world won't let me be, where every prayer feels close to home and I don't have to stand alone. The sun goes down, His love stays near, the same God I've known through the years, no matter where these roads may lead. The porch still waits for me. Across the quiet fields where daylight kissed the sky, the burdens that I'd carried in didn't seem so heavy now. I finally bowed my head again the way I'd seen Him do, not because life had become easy, but because I knew the truth. Some roads bring you farther, some roads bring you home. Grace has a way of finding hearts that thought they'd walked alone. The porch still waits for me when this old world won't let me be, where every prayer feels close to home and I don't have to stand alone. Years may pass, the house may change, His faithful love remains the same, no matter where these roads may lead. The porch still waits for me. Knew every back road out of town, every excuse to keep my head down. I laughed like everything was fine, while breaking a little more inside. Dust on my boots, dust on my name, running circles, chasing shame. Then mercy met me where I'd been, not where I wished I'd always been. He didn't ask where I had been, He simply said, "Come on in." I wasn't too far gone, I was just too far from home. One touch of grace, one quiet prayer, and suddenly I wasn't there. The chains I carried all those years fell lighter with every tear. I thought my story had moved on, turns out I wasn't too far gone.
There's an old Bible by my bed with words I used to never read. Now every page feels like a light, showing me who I am tonight. The road's still long, I still get lost, but love keeps paying every cost. I'm not the man I used to be, and that's the sweetest part of me. He never counted all my wrongs, he just kept calling me his own. I wasn't too far gone, I was just too far from home. One touch of grace, one quiet prayer, and suddenly I wasn't there. The chains I carried all those years felt lighter with every tear. I thought my story had moved on. Turns out I wasn't too far gone. The cross wasn't waiting at the finish line. Found me in the middle of mine. Love came looking through the night before I ever got it right. I wasn't too far gone, and I was never left alone. Grace was walking every mile, even when I couldn't smile. Now every sunrise sings my song.